Hello there. Could the Germans have withstood D-Day? It's the 80th anniversary of D-Day today. Well, yesterday, but I upload on Fridays, damn it. So I thought, why not commemorate the most badass naval invasion in history by trying it out myself? I bothered Lou, the wonderful creator of the amazing Operation Overlord mod for Hoi 4, to please update it in advance of D-Day, and thankfully he complied. However, to see if Germany really could have survived, I'm not only going to try the mod Operation Overlord, I'm going to live it. I'm going to be using the accurate historical battalion and regiment designs actually used by Germany in the defense of D-Day, just to see how good they really were. I do quite a lot of these insane historical design videos, so if you'd like more historicity, you should subscribe to help me hit my 50k subscriber goal, where I'll be doing all of the insanely silly suggestions given to me in my comments in one mega video. Alright, here we are, Operation Overlord. Allied invasion not expected in 1943. We have our center in the city of Dusseldorf, but we have the entirety of France and the Western Front to contend with. The invasion from the Allies will come in 44, but it could hit anywhere. There's basically no telling, so I have to prepare for all of them. This mod is really interesting because it zooms right in on the terrain, giving you multiple tiles for what would be massive sections in the base game. Like, look at this city. Caen alone is divided into 3 different sections. And just look at Paris. Look how many different sections there are there. That would be so cool to fight in. We've got a lot to build up and defend, but we also have a lot of units and research to do because we're using historical designs. Since this mod zooms in so much, instead of divisions, it actually zooms down and you get regiments and their subunits, battalions, which just makes my nerd brain so happy. We're going to get more into the historical designs later in the video once I hit 1944, but I am going to be recruiting pretty much all of these because these are pretty historically accurate with some changes. And I think the main thing we're going to be recruiting is a lot of infantry. And we're going to be needing a lot of factories, but we need to make sure we're building mostly in the east because all of this is occupied territory. Even though we have high compliance, it's still going to be not very effective. So we're just going to grind out billions of military factories and start producing some equipment because we start with no equipment production for some reason. I'm going to be needing just all of this, all the different types of artillery, and we're also going to be needing the different tanks because historically there were Panzer IVs and Panther tanks, the Panzer V, that made up different tank battalions, and we'll talk about that later, but we're going to be making all of them, as well as the Tiger Aufs E and the Stug 3. I would normally stop here and talk about the tank designs and try to correct them, but honestly, these are perfect. Kudos to the mod creator. Look at this Panther tank, man. The sloped armor, the interleaved road wheels, the correct gun. The only incorrect thing is the Panzer IV, which is almost entirely accurate, except that it has a torsion bar system. But this was actually changed pretty quickly after release of the Panzer IV to a leaf spring suspension, but that's not in the game, so I think the torsion bar is a pretty good abstraction. Oh, and look at the Tiger tank as well. It's so accurate. I love this. This is some really good research gone into this. We're also going to need to make some planes, and my god, are the German planes massively over-designed. Look at all these cannons and these crazy engines in the Focke-Wulf. This is crazy, and this strap bomber. Look at all the stuff it has. We have some technologies we do need to try and catch up on, including industry techs, but also just infantry equipment. And we have a surprisingly large focus tree with lots of locked paths that will become unlocked later, as well as a little bit of alt history in the form of the July Rebellion, the Operation Valkyrie, thank you Tom Cruise. Again, we'll talk more about that a little bit later as it becomes relevant, but for now, it's just going to be about recruiting as many divisions as possible. Despite the fact that we start with 0 equipment and I have to make it all, we do start with some units, but the vast majority of them are security divisions. This is kind of strange because security divisions were overwhelmingly on the Eastern Front, only the 325th Security Division ever occupied within France. So instead, I will be converting all of my security divisions to the Ost Battalion. I think these guys are a better abstraction of the kind of units that formed up the majority of the D-Day Wall. Literally called the East Battalion, these guys were made up mostly of older, conscripted, poorer quality soldiers, as well as forcibly drafted Czechs, Poles, and Slovaks, as well as many other Eastern cultures previously under the USSR. So I'm going to use these guys as my abstraction for what's going on the regular port defense, and then have all of my other units make up the majority of my army. The organization of the Ost Battalions is actually linked to the 716th Static Infantry Division, so we'll be basing them off of that template. The source I have for Ost Battalions is actually dated 1943, so I'll use it right now. Though it does say 3 infantry companies, the manpower requirement of the Ost Division was kind of weak, so I think the total manpower we have here is just fine, and I think support artillery works. In this mod, that adds 2 pieces of artillery, and I think that pretty well represents the 8 80mm mortars that come with the Ost Battalion. So we're going to convert every single one of my security divisions to these guys, and they will form my wall, in ports only. And I'm also just going to recruit every other type that I've got constantly all the way through, because I'm going to need all of them. They're all going to serve a purpose, I promise. And we have a massively reduced air force that is very frightening, because we're probably going to get bombed straight away. And we have some weird mine-laying ships as well. Their whole purpose is just to lay mines, so I guess we'll just do that and see if we can destroy some allied ships, I guess. Yeah, we are getting bombed pretty heavily in Westphalia, but one thing we can do, we can just build anti-air everywhere, and it's built almost instantly. I'm not quite sure about this mod creator. What the hell is this? But I'm gonna do it. Okay, I don't care. Another strange thing about this mod is that we get massive bonuses through focuses to build coastal forts. But the allied landing happens through event, and they just kind of instantly take a few tiles. They never actually properly naval invade, so there's no purpose to ever building coastal tiles. If I want forts, I'll just build forts. Unfortunately, I do still have to hit those focuses like the fortify the coastline, because this is what happened historically, unfortunately. There's a lot of unfortunate historical decisions I'm going to have to make here. A lot of the focuses, though, are really, really strong. Like, look at this, 15% stability for free? Come on, let's go. Ooh, I've got the STG-44 a bit in advance. Let's try to build that and get our infantry equipment a bit stronger. Why not? We don't need that many guns, right? Okay, we get a new Inspector of Defense. Very nice. He becomes our leader. Weekly stability gain and land fort construction speed. Very nice. Thank you, Rommel. I have somehow won the air war in Westphalia, by the way. I'm just shooting down so many planes. And we just got Army Group B through focuses. Look at the number of units I just got given. What is this? That is insane. It's 76 units and really good ones, and they're fully equipped. This is crazy. Historically, these guys were previously in Italy, and then they were relocated to France in the anticipation of the inevitable Allied invasion. But this is so perfect. This is going to be the beginning of my army. Right after that, we do get the unfortunate choice between Rommel or von Rundstedt's plan. Rommel's preferred plan against D-Day was to have all armored reserves as close as possible to the beaches, to be able to counter any landings quickly and try to push them off into the sea. Whereas von Rundstedt's plan would be to allow the Allies to come onto the beaches somewhat after defending the coasts mildly, and then have massive armored reserves in central locations like Paris to throw at them to completely bottle them up and encircle them. Rommel's plan in hindsight was clearly the better one, but Mr. Mustache Man did not agree, and he tried to compromise the situation, where forces were allowed to be at the front, but armored reserves were put under Mustache Man's direct control. In this mod, what happens is I basically get a few focuses completed automatically, giving me some bonuses, but it's completely random what I get. And speaking of Mr. Mustache Man, he also makes frequent demands of me, giving me or taking away influence. He wants me to build factories, except the mission it's given us is actually to build a stockpile, and I have to have 10,000 K98s in stockpile. Dude, that is impossible. He's given me like a couple days to magic up thousands of guns. What do you want from me? No, I'm sorry. It's not happening. Even if I deleted all of my recruitment, it wouldn't matter. All right, I've got the compromise of the strategies, and it's completed 3 random focuses, and they are just terrible focuses. Paratrooper anti-air defense, some fort construction speed. No, this is crappy. What I really, really wanted was devolve unit control, massively increase my actual stats, but okay, never mind. Okay, but we just got the Tiger tanks. Look at that. The Tiger 2 Porsche and Henschel. It's given us both, and they're exactly the same, just different designers. Henschel was the one that did actually win out, so that's what we will build. Look at these designs. They are perfect. They are genuinely exactly correct. They got that sloped armor, the interleaved, the correct gun. Oh, it's gorgeous. We're going to build so many of these. Königstiger. But it is now 1st of January, 1944, so it's time to think about the actual designs of our battalions and regiments. But first, let's see what's happening with the Allies and their plans for D-Day.
All right, boys, we're getting close. We're almost ready to bomb the beaches at Normandy.
Oh, yes, sir. Those Huns ain't gonna know what hit them.
Now, the trouble is timing. I know I've got to hit the beaches at exactly sunrise, which is 5:58 a.m., but I don't know what time it is exactly.
Oh, that's fine, sir. We can time the attack using my beautiful watch from Holzkern, the sponsor of this video.
Oh, bit of flak. Must be getting close. So, Holzkern, eh? What's so great about their watches?
Oh, sir, they're capital. Made from natural hardwoods and stone, these watches are not only timelessly beautiful, but their high-quality designs make them excellent timekeepers as well. It's stylish, and it charges while I'm right here in the cockpit.
Ah, well, that's pretty good, Lieutenant. Why don't you keep an eye on the time for me with that lovely watch? I honestly can't even think straight with the sun in my eyes.
Oh, sir, no problem. Holzkern don't just make great watches. Why don't you try my stylish Holzkern sunglasses as well? Made from high-quality polarized glass with UV protection and framed in beautiful hardwoods, these sunglasses will help you look stylish and see the beaches of Normandy clearly.
Hey, Father's Day is coming up. Do you think any of these would make a good Father's Day present?
Any one of Holzkern's watches, sunglasses, or other accessories would make for an excellent Father's Day present. Plus, along with a 24-month warranty and free 2 to 5 days shipping to the USA and most of the EU, Holzkern pays all customs and duty fees. So it's easy to send these gifts to your pa back home, or wherever you like. If you click the link in the description, holzkern.com/Aldrahill, you can get 15% off your order when you use the code Aldrahill at checkout.
Alright, Lieutenant, you convinced me. I'm gonna get my pa one of those fancy that there watches. Just gotta get D-Day over with first.
Sir?
Yes, my watch-loving friend?
You missed the beaches and the D-Day defenses. They were back there.
Oh, you're right. My bad. I was too busy admiring my new sunglasses. I'll just drop my bombs on the towns behind the beaches, completely missing all of the German defenses. I'm sure that won't be a problem for hundreds of thousands of invading Allied soldiers.
Sure. Right you are, sir.
And now back to the historical designs. Let's go. First up is the Grenadier Battalion. Yes, Grenadier. In late 1943, Mr. Mustache Man decreed that all infantry divisions that did not have a previous name would be renamed Grenadier Divisions, presumably to tie them to, like, the Prussian military. Who knows? But the Grenadier Battalion source that I have, New Ott, is the 1st of May 1944. I'm just going to make it now. And you can clearly see that the mod creator is using very similar sources. He has given 9 platoons, with the addition of a heavy company platoon. However, I'm going to change it because I don't think that this manpower number is quite right. The actual battalion size was only about 700 men, so we're going to change it just a little bit and bring it down to 9 total, bringing the manpower down to a more reasonable number. It also most certainly had a small recon element, as well as about 10 total mortars, 6 80mm and 4 120mm, which I think is well replicated by adding support artillery. So perfect. Next up, the Grenadier Regiment, and essentially this is double, as by this point, every infantry regiment contained only 2 battalions. But it's not just twice the battalion, because it also has an infantry support company and a mixed mobility anti-tank company, as well as parts of the actual divisional level support artillery. So to replicate it all, we're actually going to add 1 piece of actual artillery to the regimental design, because that brings the total amount of artillery up to 6, which I think is a lot more accurate based on the 3 75mm infantry guns and the 10 mortars. We're also going to slap off a couple of the infantry battalions or platoons that are here because the manpower is just a bit too high for the design. We're also going to be adding anti-tank support to replicate the fact that it has a variety of pack guns from the Mixed Mobility Anti-Tank Company, as well as Signal and Recon Support Companies and Pioneers. So this is it. This is the Grenadier Regiment. Now comes the most difficult one, though, the Panzer Grenadier Battalions. These are perhaps the most famous element of the German Mechanized Corps, these big badass mechs rolling in. Come on, they look cool. And I have some lovely graphs here to clearly show you what goes into a Panzer Grenadier Battalion. After meticulously counting all of the mechs in the graph, and including some not mentioned, such as the mechs necessary for company headquarters, I believe there would be 52 mechanized vehicles per Panzer Grenadier Battalion. This is not taking into account the Sonderkampfwagen 2519s, which actually were fitted with guns, which is replicated by the motorized artillery on the right. They also received some anti-tank components as part of the divisional anti-tank complement, as well as some further support artillery, and also a flak section. The anti-air battalion that each division had was split up, and bits of it were given to each Panzer Grenadier battalion, so it does get support anti-air. However, we do have a big problem. This is not completely correct, because a Panzer Grenadier regiment was actually made up of 1 mechanized battalion and 3 motorized battalions that were, in effect, exactly the same as this, but were motorized instead of mechanized. So I have 2 choices. Either A, I simply remove 3/4 of the mechs and replace them with motorized, and make them kind of boring and lame, or B, the option I'm going to do, make motorized infantry battalions as well of the same design but with trucks instead of mechs, and just recruit them as well as the mechanized Panzer battalions. I know it seems fiddly, but I'm trying to be really accurate here, so this is what I'm going to do. And also, having dedicated mech units is much more accurate to the eventual sort of Kampfgruppe that formed in the wake of the D-Day invasion, where tanks and mechs were combined together. Speaking of tanks, here's the Panzer Battalion. I have a lovely graph here, and it actually shows 2 different designs, the Panzer IV and the Panther. Each Panzer Battalion could be one or the other of these, and there's no real way in the game for me to somehow have two different Panzer Battalions that are exactly the same, but only one using one type of equipment, because both Panzer 4 and 5 are medium tanks. So I'm just going to sort of combine and average the two of them. So the Panzer 5 battalions had 49 tanks and 14 tank destroyers in the form of the Jagdpanzer, and the Panzer 4 had 59 tanks. All averaged out, that's 7 tank destroyers and 54 tanks. We also have to have some element of motorized and mechanized because the game just doesn't work with all tank designs. So I'll replicate the same level of motorized that would be on the divisional level. And this is what you end up with. You get about 54 medium tanks, and I have to sort of have around 5 tank destroyers simply just because of the numbers. We have a little bit of support artillery in the form of some following close support artillery, and also some light armored recon. This, I think, is as accurate as I can get it. It's actually a surprisingly good little design. It would absolutely obliterate any enemy tanks it comes across. It's just not going to be able to fight for very long. Next up is the SS Heavy Panzer Battalion. These are the big Tiger tank boys, and my design is going to be based on the 101st SS Heavy Panzer Tank Battalion, which is really funny because, like, 101st, you know, like Banner Brothers, that's kind of cool. And what I know is that there were about 45 heavy tanks within it, as well as various mechanized and supports, as well as anti-air. However, I'm going to keep this design pretty much exactly as it is with the addition of anti-air, because while the listed strength was 45 heavy tanks, a lot of them were breaking down all of the time, and so their operational strength was probably closer to this. So I'm really happy with this design. Next up is the SPG battalions, which essentially are the organic anti-tank battalion that belonged to the Panzer Division. And these guys were sort of meant to be a bit of an ad hoc grouping in the division that could split up and help support other battalions. And this is actually completely inaccurate, because while it is cool to imagine that it's just a bunch of Jagdpanzers, they actually also had mech-drawn anti-tank guns, like 75mm pack guns, just like being drawn behind them. So to properly replicate this, what we need to do is we need to go to around 21 tank destroyers and 12 pieces of motorized anti-tank, as well as adding a little bit of anti-air because of the organic anti-air. So this is actually what it looks like, and I think this is just such a cursed design. I don't know, I just find it really funny. But that's it. That is all of our designs. I have made all the changes. Those are our historical presets. Now to figure out how to defend France. I still have a few months, so I'll be training up my forces and starting to connect some of my disparate supply hubs that are all over the place. But what I'm thinking is to have 4 centralized strong points of units. I want to be defending Brittany in a central town there. I want to be defending Normandy from Caen. We'll be defending up a little bit around Calais, around like Amiens, or maybe Arras. And then over in the Benelux, maybe Antwerpen or Brussels. It's all about having forces split up to react wherever the landing might occur. Oh, big problem. The Allies have bombed all of our trains out of existence. We need like 1,000 trains. This is terrible. Ooh, the Allies are conducting coastline surveys. I'm sure this is fine. No need to worry. Oh, and the Allied bombers are mustering, so expect bombing. Okay, yeah, well, Paris is getting bombed pretty heavily. We've got a lot of fighters we can throw out now, so I think we should start preparing them. Oh my god, 1,000 bombers in Westphalia. Okay, I guess I'll put all of my fighters there. Oh god. Oh, and I completely forgot about the Fallschirmjäger battalions. They were representative of the 1st Fallschirmjäger Division. The Fallschirmjägers had a mix of mortars and infantry guns, about 6 or 8 of them, so I think to replicate this, I'm going to take off one of the artillery that is part of the Fallschirmjäger Brigade, and I think the manpower that I've put here is actually pretty accurate as long as I add the requisite signal company, which they definitely had, because the Fallschirmjäger battalions were not especially large, and this would make about 880-ish men, which is pretty decent. I'm happy with this. Methinks there might be a few bugs in this mod. Do the continuous focus, missing idea, or die. Sorry, my Fuhrer. Can't help you. Alright, here it is. The D-Day organization. I have divided all of my army units up into respective generals, and then divided them into 2. Half of them are based in and around Paris, so as to provide a central reserve, which is similar to von Rundstedt's plan. The remaining half of all the different unit types have then again been split into 4s and sent to each of the 4 different sectors. I've got 1/4 of them at Rouen in the Brittany sector, another one in Caen for Normandy, around Lille and Amiens for Calais, and around Antwerpen for the Benelux. I also have a bunch of infantry reserves in Germany itself in the event of bad things happening. We've got a problem when it comes to Air Force. We just don't have enough to fight off against the bombers. Hey, look at that. We're being good. The Fuhrer has ordered us to put troops into specific areas that I've already got troops in. Don't worry, buddy. I know just what you want. Ooh, okay, what? The Allies are invading southern France. In 75 days, they will break through into our theater. I guess this is meant to be like Operation Dragoon, so the forces arriving from southern France, but Operation Dragoon happens after D-Day. Why are they here? They're going to be here literally just after D-Day. What the hell? Okay, I better make sure I have lots of reserve forces in Paris to reallocate there then. Pas-de-Calais? What's this? I'm being invaded at Calais, but it's only by 6 battalions of the Home Guard. What? I've killed them. They didn't work. Surely that wasn't D-Day. That wasn't D-Day, right? Okay, well, let's just start training everybody up in anticipation of the actual D-Day. Oh my god. The fuel usage from training everybody. How little fuel do I have? I need to build more refineries. Okay, turn the Navy off. Stop trading. Stop it. They're attacking me again at Calais. All right. And I've got a whole bunch of submarines arriving from the Atlantic, so maybe I can use them to convoy raid when they eventually do start the attack. Oh, I also have a new order. It is now 1st of June 1944, and the Führer has asked me to attend a personal meeting with him. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll come on over. I'm sure this won't cause any problems. No worries. And there it is. The Allied invasion has been reported. For some reason, with a picture of Stalin. Okay, they've landed between Calais and the Benelux. Let's go. Ostend is under threat. There's a lot of forces here, actually. We've got parachute battalions further inland coming in with Marines. We've got infantry surrounding the ports. There's a lot of parachutes. This is okay. We've got boys ready to reallocate at Antwerp. So we're going to quickly reallocate our entire forces that are there and maybe half of the ones at Lille as well. We'll hold the line. We're also going to move whatever air we have from defending Paris and Westphalia and try to just achieve air superiority over that air zone. Oh man, you can reach so far in this mod. The air zones are so big. We need to make sure that our heavy tank and SPG battalions are the ones that meet enemy tank battalions, not just infantry. We need to be making sure to use our forces carefully because, oh, they're gathering up. They've taken Bruges really fast because I did not have anyone on the coast or in Bruges. I guess I should have had some units there. Oh god. We've had some encirclements, but the boys are arriving now. It's taking just only, hours really to rail up. I think I'm also going to move some of my Paris reserves up as well, because this is the big boy. I don't like this, though. There's a lot of territory they're taking. But our boys are arriving. We're having to rail as quickly as we can. But the enemy are really spreading out. We've had our first contact here on the eastern side. Our tanks have actually beat back one of the enemy battalions. Very cool. And my first Panzer battalions are arriving on the west, and we're actually pushing in on their western flank. Okay. I mean, it's all about grabbing ports here and containing the advance, and so far it's actually going all right. They're not really pumping a lot of units into this. In Verun, we're pushing in. I think I'm going to be able to make some quick encirclements here. It's all about Bruges as well, if we can actually take that. All right, let's try for a big boy push. Can we push right through the corners towards the ports? Ooh, we have a decision to get reinforcements. The 5th Panzer Army, mechanized and tank forces. Okay, let's go. I guess that'll take a little while to appear. But my reinforcements are completely on the line now, so we can just keep everyone pinned down while our tanks try to push in from the sides. And it's working. Our Panzer battalions are actually beating back enemy infantry. This is going fine. All right, this is it. Can we push in from the left? I'm just keeping them pinned from the east while I push really heavily in the west. There's not much to stop us. But oh, look at this. It's upheaval in Berlin. This looks like the July plot. Though this is not July yet. It's June, so not really sure about that one. Maybe this is a different plot? Oh, and they are actually hitting me in a separate place in North Pas-de-Calais. Oh, that's pretty cool. They are invading me elsewhere, but I can beat them with just the forces I have on hand, so no worries. I'm going to pull up the motorized boys that I've got as a quick response force and quickly rush over there just in case, because I don't want to lose that port. This should be fine. This should be fine. It's all about having mobile reserves. Rommel was right. I'm still going to keep all of my other forces in the other sectors just in case there's another invasion, but honestly, we're pushing in and I'm about to take the ports. They're not guarding the coast. Let's just throw everything we've got into this side sector. Can we just throw them back into the sea? There are some really cool focuses here that give you some good bonuses, including some doctrine bonuses and being able to build forts and some useful things. Oh, the aftermath of the July plot. Okay, so the July plot did happen. I went down the route of sticking with old Mr. Mustache Man because I didn't want to go against history, and it looks like Rommel has been asked to commit seppuku. Yeah, this retires Rommel from Heeresgruppe B, and we now get Walter Model. This is pretty much what happened. He was forced to take a little journey due to his possible ties with the July Rebellion. So we've got Model, and he's kind of lame. Ooh, our biggest problem is fuel, though. We have just nothing. Like, we have like a month's worth of fuel, and then we're out. but I'm actually not sure it's gonna matter. I'm destroying this D-Day. I have managed to massively bottle them in. There's just one port tile now. I'm kind of just throwing everything I have at it, but it's working? Am I gonna throw D-Day into the... What's this? The 5th Army Group? What is that? I don't... Oh, it's the South. Oh, it's the South. Okay, so the Allies have apparently invaded from the South. I guess this is Operation Dragoon, somehow magically appearing. Okay, there's a lot of boys, and it has given us a small army automatically on the border so they don't just instantly delete us. That's not too bad. Okay, we can quickly group them up together. And I've got reinforcements in Paris, so we're going to just move everybody down from Paris, desperately trying to hold that line. We actually also get a decision to resign my post and immediately get a ton of influence level. Considering I'm multimodal, isn't that mean doing what multimodal did in real life, which is committing a little Sudoku puzzle, which is what happened historically when he was encircled in the Ruhr pocket? That's a bit dark. Oh, we've also got a single Senegalese army unit just chilling by the Rhine. What's he doing? He's having a good time. Leave him alone. Let him chill. More importantly, we are attacking the final port on D-Day, and then the entirety of the Allied invasion will be encircled. They are reinforcing it like crazy, but come on, baby, keep going. Just keep pinning. Oh, look at that pocket. That looks super good. Yes! Okay. I have just encircled D-Day. It is only the 1st of July. Within 1 month, I have annihilated D-Day. That is amazing. Just grab everybody, push straight in, and wipe them out. Now we have to focus on the South, though, because these guys could push really heavily. Okay, currently the Allies have 37,000 casualties. How many is it going to be after the pocket's closed? Only 100,000. Is that it? There was only 100,000 people in the D-Day landings. That's kind of small. All right, going south, the rest of my boys are pushing onto the line there. We're doing really good speed, and we're actually kind of pushing against them. The Allies are not excessively pushing. I'm just battle planning. Oh, no, I'm winning. I've just battle planned it, and I've won. Okay, so I think there might be a little bit of a problem with the AI here. They may not push super aggressively, or perhaps I just am really, really strong. I was surprised the historical guys are doing quite well. We have been invaded again in the north around Verun. There's not that many, but we can kind of just throw some mobile reserves at them and crush them. So, okay, I can declare victory over D-Day. I've done it. And I get an ahistorical ending, Overlord's failure. It specifies that even if with the additional units relocated from the west, the Soviets might be held off for a little longer, but they would still horrendously lose. So it's like, you win, but not really. You still suck. Oh, my historical designs threw off the Allies from D-Day, but you know what? I'm not done yet, because I know something else is going to happen here. We're going to keep building up, and the Allies are actually continuously invading me as the months roll on here. Like, I'm being pushed in Dunkirk, which is kind of fun. They're trying to reverse Dunkirk me, but I've spread my panzers and mobile boys all around the coast, so we can counter real quick. I'm gonna do some of the special focuses to get like the special panzers, which is very, very cool. Meaning I get the Maus, the Panzerkampfwagen 7. That is awesome. This unlocks the super heavy chassis, and for some reason it auto completes 3 designs. One is the Butpanzer. Well, both were Butpanzers, and these were like converted, captured World War I vehicles. So I think this must have been like French World War I museum pieces that we started to be able to build. But I'm going to ignore those because it's all about the Maus, baby. Look at this thing, a 4-man super heavy cannon. Oh, it's gorgeous. This thing was absolutely stupid. It had no reliability. It broke down I think there was only like 1 captured turret ever found. If the Germans ever built this, every Allied plane in the entire sector would have been like, ooh, target practice. But I'm going to build it and put it as a support company for my Panzer battalions, because come on, that's cool as hell. We can also create the Vampyr, an infrared device for guns. This is basically like a red dot sight. I did not know that the Germans invented the red dot sight pretty much. That's so cool. It only has like a little bit of stat bonuses, but it doesn't matter because this is what I was waiting for. It's now May 1945 and the Bolshevik scum approach from the east. This means the Soviets have pushed so heavily that they are now in the western sector of Europe. So we're going to just throw everything we've got at them because I've got hundreds of battalions ready, loads of reserves. We're going to thrust them at the Ukrainian front. I've thrust all of my air over the sector and just put everybody on the line. And you know what? We're winning again. Even our infantry are pushing. I think they have massive supply troubles. They just can't really push super aggressively. But look at this They're doing it. The Ukrainian front is collapsing. I'm battle planning it, and that's it. They're donezo. We have beat the Soviets, I guess? We can now declare total victory, and this is a total Axis victory. It's not too far-fetched to ponder a scenario where they end up at war with each other. We win. So that would be it, right? You think that would be it? No. I still see a bit that isn't German. Let's do a sea lion. I'm going to just grab every plane I have, every weird destroyer and submarine, and put it in the Strait of Dover, and we're going to just start putting planes over southern England, just trying desperately to get air superiority. Oh my god, we lose 19 planes to anti-air just by being there. I really don't have a lot of planes, but I'm just trying to like destroy their ships and damage them to try and increase naval superiority. We're going to finally add those super heavy tanks as a support company, which is very nice. And, what the hell? I'm in Dover. So I left the plan enabled just to see if it would ever work. I guess the British Navy moved out of port for a little bit and turned off their plans because I now have landed in Dover with like 40 battalions. Let's freaking go. It's just infantry with like a teeny bit of tanks. So we're just going to push as hard as possible. I'm just going to thrust every one of my panzers, my special boys, and my SS heavy panzers, and we are going to take Kent. Oh, there's Canterbury. Oh, you can actually fight Canterbury. I want the SS heavy panzer battalions to take London. Is that a bit cringe? It is, but I do not care. We've managed to gain a nice foothold now into Kent. Canterbury is about to fall, but I have essentially no supply whatsoever. I'm going to build up the ports a bit, but it doesn't matter. I have nothing. I think I actually need to send the SS heavy battalions back because they are massively drinking the supply. Like, they're filled with Tiger 2s and mouse tanks. I don't think it's possible. And also, I probably should have been building the parachute planes, the transport planes, because then they could airdrop supplies. I'll just start building some and then put like 2 or 3 over. Okay, there we go. That's all I needed. I just needed that little bit of supply, and now we're pushing, baby. My panzers are pushing directly everywhere and crushing pockets. The Allies just are not resisting very well at all. I'm surprised they don't really have that many units. So let's move back our SS heavies. I want them to be the ones to take Buckingham Palace, okay? I think it's important. God, look at the design of London here. Isn't that cool as hell? It's sprawling city. I love it. But there we go. The SS heavy panzers are pushing into Buckingham Palace with a bit of support. And there it is. London. We can declare a sea lion victory. Let's go. It takes only a few days and Operation Sea Lion ending. How is that even possible? The possibility of an Axis victory becomes even more likely. Oh, baby. This is incredible. I did not think I could achieve this. I'm just going to sort of battle plan this and just rush it through. I also wanted to see what would happen if I did resign my post and who would take charge after Model. And it's actually Gunther von Kluge. And he has minus 99,900% invasion preparation speed. So I'm really, really glad I did not click that button before trying Sea Lion. It would have never worked. So now I'm just going to battle plan and rush right across Britain. And this is it. This is the victory. We've done it. With purely historical battalion and regiment designs, I have thrown back D-Day. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. I don't think the AI was super strong at this. I'd love to try it in multiplayer, possibly maybe against another content creator. Leave some suggestions in the comments if you think of someone would be good to play with. But that's it. I have capitulated the Allies. Oh my god. Do be sure to leave a like and a comment down below suggesting new video ideas as well. And that's it. We win. D-Day destroyed. Thank you very much again to Holzkern for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to use the link in the description and my code Aldrahill at checkout to get 15% off your order. Bye-bye.